The deal. Gonna go into this place and fish for some work. Drop it off some flyers, say hi, see if I can drum up some drone work, see if I can get this thing off the ground. We're also gonna talk about today Filmic Pro and bokeh. Hopefully there's a little bit behind me. And prop maintenance. Let's talk a little bit about prop maintenance. I'm gonna run inside, I'll be right back. Let you know how it goes too. All right, part 2. Sorry, kid got sick, so I have to finish it today. I guess we both took a little NyQuil and took a long nap. Anyways, back to the Filmic Pro app and the Note 8. Whatever complaints, whatever shortcomings they say the Note 8 has, go away when you put in a third-party app like Filmic Pro. You can film at 120 4K. You can film at whatever you really want, to be quite honest with you. You can rack focus. Let me check here. Yeah, you can rack focus. None of that's an issue. And when you throw the Note 8 on an Osmo, bingo! There you go. You have studio quality, way better than the 70s quality video. Now, as a side note, I watched the White Lines video. White Lines and a couple of old Curtis Blow videos, and holy cow, the quality was so bad. It looks like they filmed it with a garbage can. It's awful. You got to go look. If they can film that BS, then you can film whatever you want on any cell phone you want. So, Filmic Pro app, pretty fantastic. I probably use the basic settings, ISO at 100, shutter speed at 50. When you on the Osmo Mobile, when you tap the what would have been the camera shutter button, it gives you a chance to rack focus. It also gives you a chance to rack 2 focus and 2 exposure points. So, you know, say if you're focusing on a tree and a person, you can do that. And you can switch between the 2 with the camera shutter button. So, pretty fantastic. It's really not a matter of the machine, though. It's a matter of how creative and how long you want to dig into that machine. And that's really what it comes down to. You got to dig. So my settings are usually the same. With this stuff, I film it in 1080p because this is the longest part of the vlog. It takes up the most space. The drone stuff and the stuff I sell with the drone is all D-Log, and the stuff I use in the vlog is all in 4K with 4K 60 with crap. What is that? 4K 60 in Blockbuster frame. I use the most ridiculous preset I can. I wonder if there's a manual preset in that drone. Anyways, gotta hold this thing up high. Anyways, so those are my settings for Filmic Pro. It resolves any issue. The only thing I haven't really been able to figure out yet is what is you got 2 lenses. You have the telephoto and you have the regular. How does Filmic Pro resolve that? Yeah. how does Filmic Pro resolve that and get and separate out the two lenses? Or I don't understand how that would work with a 2-lens camera. Can it make use of either or camera, which would be sweet. Maybe I'll email the Filmic Pro if you're listening. Let's do that. So I don't know how it would resolve. I don't know how it's going to resolve, how it resolves using 2 lenses, the telephoto and regular. But that's how that goes. And those are my Filmic Pro settings. It's just the comic cinematic settings. And I shoot with the bars at the top and the bottom, 2.44 or something, I think it was. Just because I like the way it looks, really. Now, prop maintenance. This part we're going to have to get inside to see, because I got some good information for that. But essentially, what happened was they send you the box with your drone, in my case the Inspire, and have a little slot for your props. And I just kept them there. And I bought way too many props. I bought just a ridiculous, a magnanimous amount of props. What does magnanimous mean? And they were just knocking around in this little slot at the top of the box. And, you know, I didn't think much of it. But the first set of props that were in there, I think got damaged more from rattling around in that little slot than they did actually flying. But anyways, your props, you know, I raced 30 years. Your props are a lot like your tires on your car. They're your last line of defense. That's where everything that's where the rubber meets the road, when the props meet the air, I guess. And if you don't take care of them, that's a big issue, because you're going to hear the difference in the props themselves. Oh, it's noisy. You're going to hear the difference in the props themselves, and you're going to feel the performance difference, and it's not settling. I don't think it's going to put the drone down on the ground or anything, but it's a poor point of repair, which could pile up and make things a lot worse. You know, that, you know, domino effect. Oh, this thing's kind of heavy. Kid. So what I did is I came up with a system for keeping the drones, and let's go take a look at that. I'm almost home. I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Howdy and welcome. Can you drink distilled water? What happens if you drink distilled water? Good question. Anyway, back to propellers. This is what I was talking about. They give you the props, and excuse me. They give you the props, and DJI gives you this box, and your props go in here, and they rattle. They rattle a lot. So here's what I did. I'm going to call this the prop sock, because it holds your props. It's my own invention. It keeps them from inappropriate movement. Sounds like my high school class. And when you put the socks in this guy, And it's such a simple solution. I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier. I probably would have saved myself a bunch of props, but I never really lost a prop because I was, because of this. But the minor damages that they cause, and I'll show you, actually we'll take a break and we'll show you right here. Now you see that? That minor damage, I don't know, I would think it adds up over time. So I just took a couple of socks, a couple of my wife's socks, and threw them in here. There you go. Make sure they're lined up as normal. Bingo, bingo. Nothing. None of that rattling around, because when I first got the thing, they would sit in there and you could hear them rattling and kind of hitting it against each other, and that's eventually going to cause abrasion. And abrasion on a wing surface is dangerous and downright deadly, fatal to an aircraft. These are, I ordered so many props. I ordered way too many props when I got this thing. So I had a ton of props. So I had enough props to learn that lesson. But here's a lesson you don't have to learn. Put them in the prop sock, up over the parts there, and then put another one over top, and bingo, that works. Now, as far as lift and air density is concerned, I learned a little bit from a pilot guy I picked up. He was very informative as a long-term pilot, very informative on what actually happened the day they grounded all those flights here in Phoenix. What happened was the air density, the math that they have to do before they take off. I have so much respect for pilots now that I am a pilot, saying loosely, because we know not even a tenth as much as a real pilot knows. So there is a scale, is what I'm saying. He explained to me how they have to do a certain set of mathematical equations before they can take off, and part of that is air density. And when it's 122 degrees here in Phoenix, which it was that day, there's no reliable numbers for how much lift they need to produce to get 235 souls off the ground. And if those numbers don't check out, it's safer to sit on the ground. And it makes sense. They probably could fly, but why take the chance? So I'm thinking the same thing. How does that apply to us as drone pilots? I'm thinking the same thing, that what calculations do we need to do to understand the lift that we need to create? It's probably more akin to what the helicopter pilots have to go through. But how does air density affect us as pilots? And this clip here shows that air density does affect, because the guy was, his problem is that he was flying over a superheated area, 800 to 1,000 degrees fire pit, and when that air pressure changed, you can see it sort of hover, and it's trying to hover, and then it's trying to hover. I think, he didn't compensate, or wasn't able to compensate enough for the loss in air density, and that's why his bird went down to the fire. Which is unfortunate, because the Inspire 1's a great drone, and losing Inspire 1 is bad, because that's a great bird. So, in conclusion, can we talk about everything? No, wait a minute. We didn't talk about, we talked about lift, we talked about props, and we talked about Filmic Pro and the Osmo app. I love the Osmo app. Not the Osmo. I love the Filmic app. It is pretty fantastic. It's what I film everything on. I film everything with. It works with the Osmo Mobile, is what I'm filming right now. And it works fantastic. I just would like to know, and if you're listening, Filmic, I'd like to know, what is the protocol for both lenses, 1 and 2, telephoto and thing? Can I separate out the two in the app somehow? And if I can't, when will I be able to? But that's the podcast. And on a more serious note, let's just go to the clip. You guys have a great evening. I got a couple words to say about Vegas, and I would say be nice to each other, at the very least. Have a great time, and we'll talk to you next time. Okay. Okay. I don't speak on these subjects very often because I'm tired of hearing about them, in a way that most people are tired of hearing about them. There's an answer. There is an answer to this, like there is an answer to many things in life. And we don't want that answer. If we did, the answer would be here now. But we choose where we are. We choose our destiny. Nothing is forced upon us, and that's the sadness, is that we want what we have. If we wanted different, it would be different. We outweigh, we outnumber, we out-influence all of Capitol Hill. but still we allow and allow and allow. Here are two basic answers. Psych screenings. I know 20 people with 800 credit who are crazier than a shithouse rat and who don't deserve to drive the cars that they drive because they themselves are the weapon. And I know 10 people with 300 credit and felonies that are great people who I would no problem leaving my children with. For every handgun, anything with a bullet that's sold in America, you have to speak to a psychiatrist first. If that was the rule, then things would be different. Things would change. Psych screenings, not background checks, psych screenings. One psych screening, you speak to a doctor, the doctor asks you, are you looking to hurt yourself or anyone else? And if the answer is incorrect, you don't get to buy a gun. But we stick to the background checks because they are useless, because they are the easiest way for the gun constituents to get their money. Two guns per household. One revolver, 6 bullets. That's all you need to stop a criminal. You don't need an AK-47. You don't need Kalashnikov. You don't need AR-15. You don't need armor-piercing bullets. The only thing you need is a revolver with 6 bullets. A shotgun. One shotgun. 2 shells, 12 gauge. That clack clack, once the crackhead who climbed in your window hears that clack clack, he'll climb right back out again. Not a shot fired. One hunting rifle. Because that's all you really need a gun for in the first place. Maybe to hunt. And you can use that same hunting rifle to pop the crackhead that jumps in your window. If we followed these basic simple rules, these things wouldn't happen. But we allow, and we allow, and we allow. We outnumber, outweigh, and out-influence every senator. But we continue to allow. And yes, until you are willing to point the finger at yourself and accept that you allow, it will never change. It's unfortunate. I hate to think that this is the part of the movie. If human history was a movie, I'd hate to think that this is the part of the movie where they realize that they are on a suicide mission, that there is no answer and there is no win. But sadly enough, it appears that this is the part of the movie that we're in where humanity realizes that this is a suicide mission. We're not here to help ourselves or each other. We're here to help ourselves to whatever we can take. before we go. Instead of enjoying the experience and the time, we spend more time killing, hating, tearing down, separating. I would hope that this could be fixed, but I'm quickly losing hope.